They told you that being good would be enough, that integrity would shield you like armor in a brutal world. But what if that armor is cracked? What if it's not armor at all, just a polished mask that keeps you small, quiet, and overlooked? In a society obsessed with appearance, many of us feel torn between authentic confidence and the need to be accepted. You've tried to be kind, honest, loyal, yet deep down, you're tired. Tired of not being seen, tired of compromising your truth just to maintain peace. You're not alone. This journey is for anyone caught in the tension between virtue and visibility. And in the words of Robert Greene, the path forward isn't about abandoning your values, but about reclaiming your power. So if you're ready to stop seeking validation, to rediscover your voice, and to begin your self-discovery journey with eyes wide open, stay with me. Because behind the illusion of virtue lies a truth the world never taught you. Let's begin where most of us were first deceived, with the beautiful lie of integrity. Integrity without power is not virtue, it's exposure. From the moment you could speak, they taught you to be good, to say sorry first, to stay quiet in conflict, to be humble, honest, kind, no matter the cost. You were told this was the path to peace, respect, and even success, that if you walked with integrity, life would open its doors. But somewhere along the way, that promise began to break. Not all at once. Quietly, like a slow betrayal. You did the right thing. You gave more than you received. You forgave when no one apologized. You kept your word while others broke theirs. And yet, you were overlooked, dismissed, forgotten. This is the silent punishment of those who believe that integrity alone is enough. In a world driven by performance and perception, being morally correct without strategic awareness is not a strength. It's vulnerability dressed in virtue. And no one understood this paradox better than Robert Greene. In the 48 Laws of Power, Greene makes it clear, the world is not governed by what is fair, but by what is effective. Power, not purity, defines who holds influence. While you were trying to build inner strength quietly, others were shaping how they were perceived. While you hoped your honesty would be rewarded, they crafted their image to command respect. They weren't more deserving, they were just more deliberate. This doesn't mean you must abandon your ethics. It means you must stop offering them like currency in a world that pays in power. You must stop believing that self-sacrifice earns admiration when, in truth, it often breeds exploitation. If you're in a place right now where your goodness feels like a burden, if your integrity is met with indifference, then it's time to stop waiting to be chosen. It's time to begin your self-discovery journey, not as a people-pleaser, but as someone who sets their own worth. Start small. Don't betray yourself to keep the peace. The next time you feel the urge to stay silent to be seen as good, pause and ask, what is this really costing me? Because in the end, kindness without boundaries doesn't make you noble, it makes you invisible. And the longer you stay unseen, the easier it becomes for others to pretend you were never there at all. This realization opens a new path, one that leads beyond blind virtue and into the quiet architecture of true influence. But before you can walk it, you must first understand a darker truth. The world doesn't reward goodness. It rewards power. The world doesn't owe you respect for being good. It gives power to those who claim it. If integrity without boundaries makes you invisible, then the next truth cuts even deeper. Goodness alone does not guarantee respect. It invites erosion. Like a candle left unshielded in the wind, your light may burn bright, but it won't last if you don't learn how to guard it. Many people, perhaps even you, were taught to believe that being kind, honest, and selfless was enough to be seen, heard, and valued. That emotional openness alone could build authentic confidence. But here's the unspoken truth. In a world shaped by ambition and perception, virtue without control becomes vulnerability, and worse, Those who give endlessly, without discernment, are often used, not honored. Especially in today's hypersocial climate, where boundaries are blurred and image often overshadows intention, the one who speaks gently but lacks inner stance is the first to be overlooked, or worse, manipulated. Robert Greene understood this clearly. In his foundational work, The 48 Laws of Power, he warns, don't outshine the master. But beneath that, there's a deeper current. Don't weaponize your goodness in hopes of gaining favor. True respect isn't handed out for being agreeable. It's granted to those who understand timing, who know when to reveal, when to retreat, and when to hold the line. Being endlessly kind without purpose, Greene says, doesn't make you noble, it makes you useful. To others, at your own expense. Think about your own life. Maybe at work you constantly say yes to protect the peace. Maybe in relationships you withhold your truth because you fear rejection. You think emotional self-sacrifice is the key to connection. But how often has that kindness earned you power? Or has it instead drained your sense of self, leaving you lost in people-pleasing loops that strip away your identity? This realization opens a new path, not of cruelty, but of conscious containment. You don't need to become harsh to earn respect. You need to become whole. Emotional boundaries are not walls, they are the architecture of inner strength. Authentic confidence isn't loud, it's stable. And respect, it's not given, it's drawn, magnetized by those who own their space with grace and intention. So here's a simple practice. Today, when someone crosses your limit, pause. Don't explain. Don't justify. Just breathe and hold your line. You don't owe anyone your peace. And that quiet refusal, that's the beginning of how to earn respect. If you've made it this far, you're not just consuming information, you're becoming someone new. You're building emotional clarity day by day. Stay with me, because the next truth will push you even deeper into the silent power of invisibility and why sometimes, to truly rise, you must disappear first. Radical honesty is not power, it's self-betrayal in disguise. Once you've learned to protect your goodness with emotional boundaries, a deeper challenge arises. What happens when your need to be understood becomes your greatest weakness? In a world hungry for authenticity but wired for judgment, being too transparent is like walking into a storm without shelter, hoping your truth alone will shield you. But as Robert Greene reveals, that's not wisdom, that's exposure. And exposure invites distortion. We often confuse honesty with connection. You might believe that if you open your soul wide enough, someone will finally see you. But here's the paradox. The more you explain, the more they edit. People rarely hear your intention. They react to their perception, and perception in human relationships is rarely fair. That's why Greene insists, always say less than necessary. Not because silence is manipulation, but because restraint is power. This mistake of oversharing your pain, your dreams, your insecurities is common in moments of emotional vulnerability. You think emotional intelligence means full disclosure. You believe being real means being raw. But real strength lies in psychological self-defense, not emotional leakage. Especially in the workplace or online spaces, where every word becomes data, every confession a potential weapon. You don't owe your entire story to everyone. You owe your self-protection. Let's ground this in reality. Imagine you're starting a new job, eager to fit in. You open up quickly, sharing past failures, personal traumas, unfiltered emotions, thinking this honesty will fast-track trust. Instead, your colleagues grow cautious. They smile, but pull away. Why? Because transparency without context can trigger discomfort, judgment, or even fear. Your intention was connection, but what they perceived was instability. This is where emotional intelligence training becomes essential. Holding back doesn't make you fake. It makes you wise. It allows your presence to speak before your words do. Greene's power lies not in deception, but in direction. Guide what you reveal and to whom. Speak with clarity, not compulsion. So today, try this. When you feel the urge to over-explain, pause. Ask yourself, does this person need my truth, or am I trying to be seen too soon? Share what strengthens connection, not what dissolves your center. This isn't about hiding, it's about choosing when and where to unfold. You've already come far in this journey, learning to set boundaries, now learning to protect your depth. Keep going, because next we'll explore a lesson only the wise dare to learn. Why the most powerful transformations often happen in silence, not in the spotlight. Your goodness doesn't protect you from manipulation, it invites it. If being too transparent exposes your essence without protection, then being virtuous without awareness leaves your soul open like an unlocked door, inviting not respect, but strategy. The path from truth to trust isn't straight, and the harsh reality is this. Morality, without understanding how power works, makes you a pawn in someone else's game. You see, we've been taught that goodness is its own shield. That if we're kind, fair and honest, life will reward us. But life isn't a mirror, it's a battlefield. And as Robert Greene warns, it's not virtue that wins in silence, it's strategy. Quoting law. 3. Conceal your intentions, not to manipulate others, but to protect your values from those who would use them against you. The real danger here is not in being good, it's in assuming everyone plays fair. If you consistently try to earn approval by pleasing others, especially in hostile or high-stakes environments, you'll quickly find your kindness weaponized. People-pleasing, in the wrong context, becomes self-abandonment. And seeking validation from those who thrive on control is a slow erosion of your personal power. Imagine this. You're in a team meeting. You speak from the heart, share generously, and compromise often. But instead of respect, you're overlooked. Your ideas get claimed by someone louder. Your goodwill gets mistaken for weakness. Why? Because you walked in with virtue. But no armor. You entered as a giver, but they saw a tool. Robert Greene doesn't ask you to abandon virtue. He asks you to understand when it makes you vulnerable. Because when you reveal too much goodness too soon, without emotional boundaries, you lose strategic positioning. You confuse openness with trustworthiness, but in reality, trust is built, not assumed, and vulnerability is earned, not given. So what can you do differently? Start by recognizing the difference between intentional kindness and compulsive people-pleasing. When you feel the urge to over-accommodate, pause. Ask yourself, is this generosity, or is it a need to be liked? Begin developing inner strength by setting subtle boundaries. Protect your energy in rooms where your goodness isn't valued. You're not alone if this feels hard. It's noble to want to lead with your heart. But strength comes not just from goodness, it comes from discernment. Virtue, when fused with strategy, becomes power. But virtue, without it, it becomes a gift to those who play dirtier than you. Let this truth settle in. Your heart is sacred, but your mind must guide its steps. And as we journey forward, you'll see that real confidence doesn't chase approval. It reclaims the throne within. People don't treat you based on who you are. They treat you based on who you appear to be. From the last truth, that virtue without armor becomes a gift to the wrong hands. We now enter a more elusive battlefield, how others see you. Because in the world of human dynamics, power doesn't belong to those who are right. It belongs to those who appear unshakable. You may walk with integrity, speak with honesty, live with emotional clarity. But if the image you project feels uncertain, the world will respond to that, not your truth. Robert Greene calls reputation the cornerstone of power. Not truth, not effort. Reputation, because perception in this world is reality. And too often, good people lose influence not because they lack skill or soul, but because they refuse to shape the image others carry of them. They believe that authenticity is enough. But authentic confidence, if hidden behind hesitation, breeds confusion, not respect. This is where many suffer silently. You work hard, you stay kind, but you're constantly overlooked. Passed up for the louder one, the shinier one, the one who plays the game. And it's maddening because you think, but I'm the real deal. And you probably are. But truth that isn't framed with power becomes invisible in a world obsessed with surface. Let's be blunt. Your life is not a courtroom of facts. It's a theater of impressions. And if you don't direct the narrative, someone else will. Greene doesn't tell you to lie. He tells you to own the image before it owns you. He invites you to be intentional, not performative. Because perception, when shaped with wisdom, becomes a tool, not a mask. So what does this mean for you? It means every room you enter, every word you speak, every silence you hold, transmits a signal. That signal becomes how people treat you. This isn't about manipulation, it's about mental clarity, about realizing that presence shapes power, that how you carry your truth matters just as much as the truth itself. Start here. Audit your presence. Not your morality, your projection. Do you speak with quiet conviction or apologetic tones? Do you hold your gaze or shrink it away? Do you allow others to interrupt your boundaries? Or do you signal inner strength? These are not details. They are architecture. They shape how others position you in their minds, and thus in their lives. You don't need to be loud. You need to be intentional. You don't need to fake confidence. You need to define what authentic confidence looks like, visibly. And if that sounds confronting, it's because you've been told perception is vanity. It's not. It's clarity. It's a strategy. It's the invisible scaffolding of power. When you stop trying to prove who you are and start controlling how you appear, you reclaim your narrative. And in that quiet shift, the world begins to respond differently. Respect isn't demanded, it's designed. And as we move forward, you'll see that your silence, too, can be a weapon when it's held with precision, not passivity. Integrity is not a 24/7 performance. It's a weapon you draw when it serves a purpose. Once you understand that perception shapes how the world responds to you, another truth surfaces, equally uncomfortable, equally freeing. Being good is not enough. And staying good all the time is not wise. You see, the world doesn't reward consistency in virtue. It rewards strategic presence. That's why Robert Greene doesn't teach morality. He teaches timing. In Law 13, appeal to self-interest, never to mercy, Greene makes it brutally clear, don't ask to be protected because you're kind. Make yourself indispensable because you're sharp. Integrity, then, is not a blanket. It's a blade. You don't wave it constantly. You unsheath it when the moment demands precision. Too often, we mistake virtue for submission. We confuse being true to ourselves with being available to everyone, and that mistake drains our strength. You become the dependable one, the nice one, the one who never says no, until life demands steel and all you've trained is softness. This is where people lose themselves, thinking that full-time goodness equals full-time respect. But people don't value what's always available. They value what is calculated, what is earned. That's why self-respect isn't about always being kind. It's about knowing when not to be. In times of pressure, at work, in relationships, under public scrutiny, what protects you isn't just moral clarity. It's emotional clarity. It's the inner boundary that says, my integrity serves me. It does not expose me. When others beg for sympathy, Greene invites you to offer strength. When they manipulate with guilt, he suggests you respond with value. not apology. This isn't about becoming cold, it's about becoming precise. You stop using integrity to seek approval. You start using self-awareness to create personal power. Maybe this shift feels foreign. Maybe you were raised to believe that being a good person was the highest aim. But here's the truth. Goodness without boundaries is self-sabotage in slow motion, especially in a world that rewards usefulness over purity. You want respect. Become necessary. Not by being agreeable, but by being anchored. That's what builds authentic self-respect. When your values serve your mission, not your need to be liked. Start practicing this shift today. In every conversation, ask, am I acting from genuine alignment or from habit? Choose moments to stay silent when your words won't serve you. Say no without apology when your time is being drained. Let your presence speak for you when your goodness is being tested. These are not gestures of rebellion. They are the practical steps to gain self-respect and live with strategic dignity. And if you've made it this far, I want to say this to you. Your presence here means you're not asleep at the wheel. You're choosing to think deeply, not just react emotionally. That matters. Most won't do this work, but you are. So keep going. Because in the next breath of this journey, we'll unlock a final paradox. How silence can be the loudest voice of all when wielded with intention. Let's continue. Don't aim to be liked. Aim to be respected. Once you realize integrity must be wielded with strategy, not offered as sacrifice, another door opens. The path to becoming someone solid, anchored, not just someone nice. Because in the world of power and perception, goodness is not enough. What matters is substance. People don't follow those who are simply kind. They follow those who are clear, who has direction, who stand for something unshakable. You can be good and still be ignored. But you can never be mentally unshakable and remain invisible. Most people make a fatal mistake. They seek to be liked. They say yes too often. They smile through discomfort. They betray their own center to preserve harmony. But harmony built on self-erasure is not peace. It's quiet despair. And Robert Greene warns us, you must not only be good, but appear great. In a world driven by optics, energy, and narrative, strategic confidence is not a luxury, it's survival. Without it, people may thank you, but they will not respect you. Think of any moment when you felt undervalued, at work, in family, in relationships. Chances are you were being good. Too good. You put others first. You gave without asking. You tolerated what should have been challenged. And what happened? They didn't admire your selflessness. They expected it. They normalized it. You didn't become powerful in their eyes. You became predictable. Replace that pattern now. Become someone who builds inner strength through clear emotional boundaries, not people-pleasing. This is how you become a person of substance. You set standards, not just intentions. You control your image with clarity, not desperation. You align your presence with your values, not your wounds. When you walk into a room, your energy says, I know who I am. I don't need your approval to exist. And ironically, that's when respect flows toward you. Not when you beg for it, but when you embody it. To start, simplify this into a daily filter. Before you say yes, ask, is this aligned with my purpose or just my fear of being disliked? When facing pressure, don't rush to explain. Pause, hold your frame. Speak less, but mean every word. These are small shifts, but they build strategic confidence, a quiet, rooted power that cannot be shaken by outside noise. And if you're still here, still walking through this path word by word, I want you to know this. You're not just consuming content. You're becoming someone different, someone deeper. Someone else will feel before they hear. And in the next breath of this journey, we'll step into that final space, the power of silence. Not as escape, but as command. Stay close. Never beg to be understood. Either they see your worth, or they're not meant to. In a world that rewards performance over essence, many end up choosing pity over power, hoping that being mistreated will earn them compassion, that their pain will earn them protection. But Robert Greene would warn you, victimhood can be a trap. When pity becomes your currency, power quietly leaves the room. People don't respect what apologizes for existing. They respect what stands, what holds its voice steady even when unheard, what refuses to be broken down into smaller pieces just to make others comfortable. Choosing power doesn't mean becoming cruel. It means refusing to be emotionally blackmailed by the fear of being misunderstood. It means using emotional intelligence not to manipulate, but to command inner clarity. It means building the kind of authentic confidence that doesn't ask for permission to be. This applies most in moments when you're gaslighted, guilt-tripped, or underestimated. When you're tempted to over-explain, to shrink, to seek validation. Pause. Breathe. Then ask yourself, do I want to be pitied or respected? This is how you become untouchable. Not because no one tries to touch you, but because no one can move you without your consent. So as we prepare to close this journey, carry this truth with you. You are not built for pity. You are built for presence. Let the world watch, but don't ever wait for it to applaud. And now, we arrive at the end. But endings, as Greene reminds us, are illusions. Real power begins the moment you stop explaining and start embodying. Power is not noise. It's not control. It's quite clear. From Robert Greene's timeless wisdom, we've seen that integrity, when used strategically, not performatively, builds respect, not just admiration. That self-awareness creates personal power. That becoming a person of substance, not just goodness, is how you become mentally unshakable in a chaotic world. You've walked through hard truths, the trap of forced morality, the illusion of approval, the subtle war between perception and authenticity. And yet, there is hope in all this, because none of these are fixed traits. They're choices, daily ones. So here's one practice. Each morning, before your world pulls you in, ask yourself, what part of me will I not betray today? That single question can anchor your boundaries, guide your emotions, and grow your strategic confidence, wordlessly. If this message stirred something in you, it means you're ready. Not to just survive the world, but to shape how it sees you. You don't need to be ruthless. You need to be clear, unapologetically rooted, quietly powerful. Now I ask you, what moment in your life made you realize that being good was never enough? Drop your story in the comments. Someone else might read it and find their own reflection. And if this spoke to you, subscribe, like, share it with the one friend who gives too much and gets too little. This isn't just a video, it's a turning point. So pause here. Breathe. Let the lessons settle. And the next time the world demands a performance, remember, you are not here to impress. You're here to impact.